side.
Gonna get rid of the Camille straight away. Last time they banned Camille, Orianna, Renekton. We'll see if that's the case once again. The Unicorns were willing to ban away the Ornn themselves alongside the Hecarim, even when they were on the blue side. So wouldn't surprise me, actually, if we see that Ornn removed by Unicorns here.
Yeah, it definitely could happen. And I just think that plans has been really interesting this year because whereas in a lot of the different regions coming into Worlds, it felt like the meta was solved. Whether like it was the Caitlyn priority or heavy priority on like these farming junglers really starting to pop up. At Worlds, it feels like there is a healthy mix of what we have been seeing. Different teams have different of these farming junglers that they prioritize. In this series, it is going to be the Nidalee as that primo option you can take in the jungle. But that Orianna you were mentioning, taking that away from both Nomanz and Gadget, as that flex is always going to be a good ban against Unicorns.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can capture two players pool with a single ban. The Orianna, of course, does that for Supermassive here. The Unicorns looking at their second ban. There's the Ornn. That's taken away. And with the Nidalee not being available, I wonder what the first pick priority is going to become here. Lilia, of course, still on the table if Supermassive want to take it themselves.
Well, I am looking at the Hecarim potentially. That was one that Unicorns banned out last game. Now that they banned the Nidalee, though, that opens up the Azir and the Hecarim as the two that slid through, as well as a potential Renekton. And personally, if I'm Supermassive, I would love to get the Shen Hecarim. I think that's a really, really powerful combination. You can pair up together, and I mean, Armut Shen, Kakao's Hecarim, those are two champions they can absolutely pop off on.
And although Armut, obviously, you know, he's a good player across the board, his Renekton hasn't always shone that much, so the Hecarim is going to be the ban. Supermassive now will look towards the Lilia as their first pick. That's already locked in. So once again, putting faith in Kakao. He had a couple of good performances on it yesterday, but didn't manage to pop off with it in Game 1 today.
Now, I wonder how tethered they are to the Misfortune, because the Misfortune combo with Lilia is really strong, but I did not see the really sick ultimates I was waiting for in draft last game. Zeitnot, they didn't quite connect. You know, a couple times he caught two people, but the sleep was either broken by someone else or an all-star popping free in that one. So I wonder if Supermassive will end up sticking with that. Regardless, it will be a Renekton up in the top side of the map for Boss. I think we could end up just seeing a simple trade up in the top lane. I'm always going to be looking at Armut Shen. I think every draft I'm going to mention that one. But for the rest of Unicorns of Love, the Graves as that secondary best option you can take in the jungle when the Lilia is banned out. A lot of people like this up into the Lilia for the quick clear through the camps.
Yeah, and Boss is a very scary Renekton in the top lane. 6-0 across the course of the LCL. Very powerful on that pick, but we have seen Armut stand tall against a lot of opponents in the top lane already, and maybe something like the Shen here could do a similar job to how he has played in the past, give him something a little bit tankier, give him something with just actually some good trading patterns against the Renekton early on. That Spirit's Refuge can do a lot of work for you as the Shen.
Well, the Senna was a favorite of Zeitnot's for the first couple games they did play at Worlds, paired with these melee supports like the Nautilus, the Leona, these types of options. I don't think they're too concerned about picking up a support champion right now. Of course, if they do want to hold on to some agency to, you know, counterpick either top lane or mid lane, they can do that, but perhaps they have picked up a little style from the Mad Lions here with the Wukong. That, of course, can go into the bot lane next to the Senna.
Gonna be honest, didn't work out too well for the Mad Lions yesterday, so Supermassive hopefully can pilot it.
It's because Supermassive knew how to play it better, apparently.
Exactly.
They know how to beat it, so they know how to win with it, is somehow how that works. But Nomanz Kassadin is gonna make a return. I love this. Everyone remembers the insane jukes, the escape, the turnaround that he had during the round robin of play-ins, and this is going to be the carry AP damage here for the Unicorns coming out of the mid lane.
And you can see they already get rid of a pick that is strong into the Kassadin in the Lucian. I'd expect perhaps an Azir ban as well from the Unicorns of Love, just because Balulu is so strong at it. But we do still have just a couple of moments before we get to that second ban.
You know, the other thing I'm expecting, Medic, is actually a mage in the bot lane. And I love the Karthus ban coming out. That is a target ban to Gadget in the bot side. Because with Graves top lane, right, or Graves jungle and Renekton in the top lane on that top side of the map, you already have a couple of physical damage dealers. Gadget would love to get his hands on something that can deal some magic damage. Probably magic damage from range, too, because that's the only thing you're really missing from this composition currently.
And also getting some magic damage that works earlier on in the comp, because of course Kassadin does a huge amount of magic damage, but it takes a while for him to actually have it in his damage profile, so I'd like to see something with just a little bit more power early. Maybe the Heimerdinger is an option. Swain removed here from Gadget, and the set taken away from Balulu. now perhaps a support pick if you want to keep that flexibility, that counter pick for last.
Yeah, right now, because with the Swain ban and the Orianna ban earlier in the draft, those are the two mages that Gadget played during the round robin. The Ziggs, though, is an excellent option here. I really like this champion playing for early turret plates, especially with the Graves to help you push out that lane. And then you can pair it with something like the Thresh. Gives you a lot of survivability, a little safety net. Even if a sleep is coming down from the Lilia, I think that champion can offer a lot of value.
Also gives you a huge amount of wave clear, which is something this composition was missing a little bit of. You know, the Graves can do a bit, the Renekton as well, but he has to be in the middle of the minions to get there. Ziggs gives you that ranged wave clear, so if you do fall behind as the Unicorns, you have a way of stalling out those sieges from Supermassive. They're going to take the Leona alongside that Senna. You talked about it. They like that hard engage. They like the power. Snowflower has been a very strong support throughout the course of the World's play-ins. Expect to see him hitting those ultimates alongside the Azir. That's actually such a powerful engage potential. You then sweep people back into the Cyclone, into the Dawning Shadow. It's very strong team fights here for the Supermassive.
Supermassive have a lot of different ways they can approach a team fight, because like you're saying, the Azir plus Leona, Wukong, like all those champions can go in, but they can also play things a little bit slow, work with, you know, the backline damage you have, the Senna range, the sustain you have there too, Lilia's movement speed. You can kite around in these fights for a very, very long time. That being said, maybe a little bit difficult later in the game up against the Kassadin especially, so they need to find a way of locking down Nomans and making sure he cannot take over the game, because we have seen that too many times here at Worlds.
I love watching Kassadins pop off. I'm going to be honest, it's incredibly fun to watch. We saw it earlier on today with LGD taking down Legacy from the OPL, and perhaps we'll see it here as the Unicorns are going to take the Alistar as their final pick. Gives you a little bit more engage, gives you a bit of a tanky front line, which works. And not the most powerful into Leona, because Leona can kind of just Zenith blade through you if she wants, but also can be... If she Zenith Blades, you then knock her away. Assuming the Zenith Blade is still about to connect, you just fly all the way back onto whoever that sword has gone through.
I'll be honest, like 2 games in a row now, I do like the approach that Supermassive is coming into the game with, especially whenever you see a Graves picked early on. As much zone control as you can get in the range, you can get to contest him. The Azir, the Senna, likely with the Glacial Augment, it becomes really hard for him to execute within these team fights. So I actually think this is a game where we're focused a little bit less on Anana Sick outside of the early game. You know, later on in the game, it's going to be harder for him. But this is a game where No Man's on that cast, and we've seen him carry with it before, and he very well could do it again.
See Sheepy with a smile on his face, and right to have one. They went almost undefeated through their summer season, did the Unicorns of Love, losing only 1 game in playoffs to Gambit Gaming. On the other side, Supermassive had a little bit more of a turbulent affair. 3-2, 5-game series against 5 Ronin in their finals, but they will be looking to strike back here as they are 1-0 down.
And they're used to the 5-game series. You know, they had to play one yesterday, Medic, so 1 loss is not time to, you know, throw the towel out or whatever the phrase is. It's not time to give up.
Throw in the towel?
Throw in the towel, that's the one. Blow out the candles, any of those great things you can toss in there. No. Supermassive are a strong, strong team here and looking to challenge Unicorns. Again, game 1, it was a very close game. I do think Unicorns carried away with it past that 15-minute mark, but a close one nonetheless. These games are going to be bloody. Expect a lot of action, especially with these champions. And I'm really curious to see how Unicorns can move the Ziggs around the map.
Gadget's Ziggs is a sight to behold a lot of the time. And we are going to jump on into Summoner's Rift. So eyes on No Man's, of course. Tick-tock, the clock is ticking. 1 out of 16 so far, I'm sure, is the spam in Twitch chat. But we see Balulu on his Azir that has been banned away from him so many times. We see Cacao once again on the Lilia, with which he had such a great effect yesterday against the Mad Lions. We see Supermassive with all of the tools in their arsenal to keep the Unicorns at bay.
They're also starting with a sweeper on Cacao. I saw right before our item choices got hidden away, so I was wondering if there could be any sort of level 1 movement. We know that Lilia's always like to clear Raptor camp, and it's really interesting watching how the jungle clears have evolved over the course of Worlds and as we've entered this more farming jungler meta, because it used to be you would always go like red buff into Krugs, make sure you prioritize those, and I think we've seen a little bit less of that as more junglers have looked to fight fight over Raptors. Level 1, level 2, go for those. A lot of times you'll see either a Raptor start, you'll see red into Raptors very, very quickly, even though they give less XP, just to make sure the denial and the invade does not come through. Now that invade might come through the bot side, that's what Supermassive are set up for.
It's going to be a very late invade, and there is a ward there from the Unicorns of Love, so they'll be spotted out as they step forward. As we said, they have the sweeper on Kakao, so they can clear out the ward, but you will know that Snowflower, Kakao, and Zeitner are all here. They spot the ward, they take it away. Gadget, they try and put some damage down from across here. The Arcane Comet adding just a little bit on towards that bomb.
And you can actually see the immediate response from Anonasik. He's not even going to start up his red buff. He sprints straight over to the Supermassive blue buff. They did leave a ward on that, so they will know exactly what is going on. This means there shouldn't be any sort of response. A lot of times you would see with a blue invade like this from Kakao, maybe taking the Wolves or the Grump and then sprinting back over towards blue to stop that. But Armut sacking his lane entirely to make sure Anonasik can't take this one away.
So the only risk for Armut is if Boss comes down quickly enough to catch him out in a 2v1, but that doesn't happen. Boss left the lane just that little bit later. That denies the blue buff away from Anonasik. So now Anonasik, Kakao is just like, okay guys, I'm just going to run straight across to my blue. I get 3 buffs right now.
This is exactly the play I'm talking about. He's even stealing some EXP from mid lane. He's going over here. I think if you get the red buff, just take the Raptors. Yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what you want to see. Because Anonasik is stuck on level 1, we'll have to use his smite to hit level 2. You know Lilia clears these camps so insanely quickly. So that is 3 camps stolen away from Anonasik. It's a level 3 on the Lilia compared to the level 2 from the Graves. And I mean, they're trying to walk into the jungle here, but as soon as Armut walks on down, like, you can't make this play happen.
Yeah, the issue is you never get mid pressure as Unicorns of Love right now. Like, Nomans is always going to get pushed in by Balulu, and you can see Anonasik has to come across, help out Nomans in the mid lane, force Balulu back, but means that he will not be able to go into that blue side jungle. Interesting that Kakao left the blue up. Now, of course, this means that you can refresh the buff later on.
Yeah. I mean, it's just about making sure there's no chance for Graves to get anything in this map. Because you see, he's going to take Raptors. He's going to then get bot side Scuttle Crab. Again, mid lane, as you said, pushing. Bot lane also pushing. So they're going to walk in here and find Anonasik again.
Smite in a level advantage. Anonasik able to get away. The Watch Out Eat coming out. Here's Santos. Gromp not quite low enough to be smitten. The Zenith play from across the wall. Santos going forward. Anonasik is low and does just manage to get the smite.
It is doomed for Anonasik. Like, this man is going to be level 3 when Kakao's hitting level 6. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's going to be rough because, again, both Scuttle Crab's going to go Kakao's way, and I think when you're playing a super heavy invade style of League of Legends, forget about the buffs. Like, don't actually clear your buffs. The 5-minute reset timer on those, it's not worth it. If you really want to cycle through and you're clearing away your enemy's camps, look for those 2-minute timer resets on your base camps. Kakao will also have the respawn timer of the enemy Wolves, which I think he will ignore, but the Raptors that he went to immediately after, coming straight out of this topside Scuttle Crab, immediately go up for those Raptors that should be spawning in about 20 seconds from now.
It's actually just so difficult for Anonasik to have any influence on the game right now. He is level 2. He's taking his Krugs for the first time while Kakao takes his second blue buff of the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right now you get the 15-second timer from Kakao, so I'm fully expecting... Actually, he's going to start up the Gromp here. It's because Balulu wants to take a reset, even though the Azir has the teleport. I would have liked to see him maybe go for that one immediately. Might even still have time. Yeah. That's the crazy thing is
so quick.
Because Anonasik was put so far behind, like, his base is boots. So there's no combat stats there. Kakao can continue to play aggro even though he hasn't gone for a reset himself.
Lilia is going to go for a reset now. So they give up that second spawning of the Razorbeaks. Decide it's not worth it. We'll go back with almost 3 times the farm of
That's crazy.
That is actually disgusting. Gets a Stalker's Blade and an Amplifying Tome. Is going to be in a really strong position. Now we'll see how he can translate this early game advantage across the rest of the map. Because meanwhile in the top lane, Boss has been bullying Armut. 16 CS lead for the Croc over the Monkey.
Yep.
I don't remember what Wukong was there for a second.
Yeah. It's sometimes hard to get. You usually confuse the Croc for the alligator, but in this case, the Monkey, a little bit more obvious. Meanwhile, Anonasik goes mid lane, steals some EXP. He's like, thank you very much, but it's still a 2-level advantage.
It might actually be level 6 to level 3, Endo.
It might legitimately be that. I think Anonasik should hit level 4 off of these Wolves, like assuming how much EXP he stole off of mid lane, but level 6 to level 3, like called, would be absolutely brutal.
It's going to be 6 to 4. Kakao has red and Krugs. and should hit 6 after he gets his Krogs. You can see second back here for Ananasik. Only got the boots so far. Will now look to get that jungle item complete.
Yeah, regardless, the level 6 coming through from Kakao is going to be insane, and it's not like Ananasik has any good fallback pattern other than just continuing to farm his camps. Like, he doesn't really have the lanes he can play around when he's behind. He doesn't pack the punch needed to roll up into top lane and punish Armut for pushing this wave like this, even though I think Boss is doing a good job of holding the wave right in front of the tower, and that'll force a reset out of Armut. Now Kakao with the level 6 is walking into the river, and I think he could just take this dragon pretty easily. He has the double buffs, because remember, he left those up, so he was able to do those on his second clear. And then we'll also have the respawn timer of the blue buff from the Unicorn. So coming off of this camp, you can then look for the invade, utilize that level 6, the CC the Lily gives you. It is a jungle masterclass, Medic.
It's been pretty enjoyable to watch if you're a Turkish fan. Kakao going to get the Ocean Dragon 6 minutes into the game, then gets the respawn of the Scuttle Crab. And then Ananasik just slowly working his way through his second Gromp. Let's look at where we are on the rest of the map, though, Ender, because, of course, we have focused a lot on the jungle, because that's what the talking point has been. In the mid lane, slight CS lead for Balulu, as expected. The Azir into Cassidy matchup pretty favorable to the Azir early on, and now Balulu's going to use that pressure to come over towards the jungle once again. The problem is you can't fight this because it's a 3-level difference in the jungle. As much as you want to talk about other things, it just matters more that your jungler has such a lead. The smite goes through from Kakao as well, so he picks up the blue buff. And the lanes now are suffering a bit as Gadget was called from bot lane. Some minions may be falling down there as he tried to go help out his jungler. And I think with having a Cassidy in mid lane, it is such a gaping hole that Supermassive are taking advantage of, right? Like, Unicorns don't have any pressure coming from that at this point in the game, and it's giving Kakao free reign. Kakao has finished his Runic Echoes on his Stalker's Blade. Ananasik has a little talisman and a knife.
Good God!
He's like, hey mate, I can't afford 2 boots, I can only afford 1. He's limping around with 1 shoe on and a little paring knife being like, I'll come at you, I'll get you.
I'm going to be honest, Medic, as much as, like, there are 10 champions in this, or 9 champions in this game, let's not be too generous there to the graves at this point. Like, it really is just about the jungle and how Kakao can use this. So I do think it's worth continuing to focus, because now we're seeing Kakao with that level 7 just running into these objectives. And he's free to do this without calling his lanes over because of the power he has. And
I want to do a little rewind as we see him start the Rift Herald up, because you can wonder exactly how this happened, right? They got the invade on the blue buff, and Ananasik knew it was happening. He was like, okay, I'm going to go to the blue. And you have to give so much credit to Armut, because he came down from the top lane, sacked some early CS, and then stopped Ananasik from taking that blue, and it's all gone from there.
Exactly. It's been a team-wide effort. So Kakao has kind of been cheating because, again, he had Armut. He even had Zeitnot and Snowflower help him out with the invade initially. Ananasik has been on his own. Everything that he's had his laners help him out with has been very, very reactive. It was not well thought through, and I think he was definitely caught off by surprise with how the early game did end up panning out. So while there are no kills in this game, the gold is not actually blown open that wide, because I think top lane you see a decent CS lead for Boss on this winning matchup in the Renekton. He even has minions to pick up onto his tower. We are going to see Supermassive picking up these Drakes very quickly with the mountain spawning in 2.5 minutes, and hopefully Kakao can find a way to utilize his ultimate, because we haven't actually seen him do anything proactive other than PvE.
PvE is very difficult from time to time. This is his 4th Scuttle Crab of the game, I believe.
Yeah, because he got the first 2.
Yep, and Ananasik has none. Blue buff will be up for Kakao. 2 minutes, as you say, on the Mountain Dragon. We'll give credit to Gadget in the bottom lane. He's been able to push in that wave, get himself a plate. That second plate is very shortly to follow. And Ananasik is trying to get some jungle of his own, some counter-jungling done. Still that 2-level disadvantage, but teaming up with Santos will give him an extra man to help out.
This is a really good move, using Santos first on the reset to help get some vision and spot out the Lilia. Maybe it can protect on the next blue buff invade, but there's 3 people here.
Flash, Zenith Blade, collateral damage used to try and get away. Ananasik just able to flash out of the back of it. Santos going to pop the Unbreakable Will to try and get away, and will flash the wall. Kakao still on the chase, though. Balulu going in as well. The TP behind them as Boss.
Double TP.
Double, as you say. Boss and Nomad's going to join the fray. And now it's the 3v5 in favor of the Unicorns of Love. The Emperor's Survival, knock back 1, but Balulu should be short to follow. First kill goes down. Nomad's gets it. Boss now in the middle of them all. A cycling comes out from Armut. He takes down Santa. Snowflower still alive somehow. Double to Nomad's, though. And another kill goes over to Boss. And Supermassive, maybe they dived a little bit too greedily. Armut's going to get a kill. But Nomad's is looking for his 3rd of the bite. Gets it. A triple to Cassidy. Kassadin, an ace to the Unicorns, and just like that, the game blows up.
Forget the early game. Unicorns will beat you in the fight right now. Supermassive, they thought it was just one TP because Armut did not come in quickly enough. It was actually two right there. No Man's now with 3 kills on the Kassadin. It's a disaster in the river once again.
And absolutely incredible for Unicorns. In fact, I believe this is kind of deja vu as I watched the No Man's game before. He got a triple on the Kassadin in the bottom river. And the game just went away from there. Kakao just overstepping as the double TP comes in.
And as fed as Kakao is relative to Graves, you see the Kassadin, the Renekton also level 8. So Bululu, he gets caught out here inside the river. He's immediately down. Then Supermassive continued to force the fight, even though Kakao had already used his ultimate. A Nanosick raining down damage. No Man's like, what are you going to do to this guy at this point without the DPS coming through? The rest of the team from Supermassive were just not powerful enough, and you can see Kakao as his entire early game lead goes flying out the window.
Just evaporates. It's now a 1,500 gold lead to Unicorns, and look at No Man's. Look at how strong he is. 4,600 gold, but Lulu is 800 gold behind him. Boss is ahead of Kakao as well, and although a Nanosick sits very sadly at the bottom of the chart apart from the supports, he is well aware of the knowledge that his team is now ahead, scaling. You've already got the Rod of Ages complete on No Man's. Archangel stuff on its way for Gadget. He's completed the Seraphs and in such a strong position. Riftho is going to be popped down mid here to try and keep No Man's in this lane.
Supermassive still winning the objective game in terms of those neutrals, so we'll be able to pick up some damage and some plate money off of this mid lane tower, but at the same time, Ziggs is pushing bot side. Boss gets sleepy.
It's going to flash across the wall. Will be safe. Of course, Kakao burnt his flash in the last fight.
But look at this. Like, the Rift Herald is used in mid lane. Unicorns will have to clear it away. And Ziggs is down bot side like, hey guys, by the way, my passive does a lot of damage to towers. And my W nukes them. 2 plates right there, just instantly going to be deleted down there. He's solo as well, so he just got a huge influx of gold. He's been very quiet throughout this game. He got those 4 assists roaming up through the river, but now he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And as much as you can say it's great for Supermassive, we talked about it, they got the early objectives. They were able to get a Rift Herald. They got 2 dragons. They can look for this next Rift Herald as well. Unicorns of Love are now hitting their power point for that next dragon, right? In 3 minutes, that Kassadin is going to be at 5 stacks on his Rod of Ages. He's going to be level 11. He's going to be so strong. And you have a Ziggs who's already got his first completed item. And you've got a Blade of the Ruined King on boss. Like, as much as the Nanosick is behind, you do not lack damage in this composition because the Kassadin is so far ahead of the clock.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Armut getting in theory, he got to see the Renekton picked early, and he took the Wukong into this matchup. Boss has been having a great time up there. Sure, the kills have come through the team fight down in that outside river, but was able to build up a CS advantage and have a lot of pressure in this matchup as well. Now we've seen Unicorn split into, you know, the 1-2-1 with Graves roaming around inside of the jungle, and I love this. As soon as the bot lane tower falls, you want to see the Ziggs get around the map and see if he can potentially pick up some plates. The plates are about to fall, but with Ziggs in mid lane, that means almost permanent priority for the Unicorns of Love. There's no champion combination from Supermassive that can actually contest that unless they're bringing 3-4 members towards the mid side.
So what we then want to see from Supermassive is that strong vision game that they had against Mad Lions yesterday. Create pockets of darkness for your opponents and catch them out as they overstep. You know, if Kassadin's Rift walking forward, you can catch him in a Solar Flare, you can catch him with a Shield of Daybreak, you can lock him up and take him out really quickly. The issue is, it's very hard to do that when your lanes are pushed into you.
Exactly. For a second, it looked like No Man's going to try to set up a freeze down here, but I mean, even when he does enter those fights, you do try to lock him down, but he's probably going to be running Legend Tenacity inside the runes. That's one of the big benefits of being able to go into the precision tree, so Leona not going to be quite as useful. Supermassive, again, completely focused on these topside objectives, and Unicorns, they're here to flip it on the Herald again.
All 5 members coming in. Will it be a flip or will it be a flop here for the Unicorns as they look for the fight? Boss caught off towards the top side as Armut jumps onto him. The sleep's going to go down. The Lilting Lullaby used only for the croc. And yep, he goes down. Santa's now in the front line as the Emperor's Divide pushes him away. Supermassive all ticking down on health, about half on every single player. Zeitnot had to use his flash as well to get, his heal to get away.
Yeah, exactly. No Man's jumped on him, so he's completely zoned away. Now Bululu and Armut are trying to run from this one. Santis has a good flank to come around. They are going to path. They're going to split up and look for the executes. Whoa!
Oh, collateral damage. Oh, hits him and he still flashes. Oh, a little bit too late there from Balulu. I'm not sure you burn your flash there.
I think you just accept death at that point. You hold on to the flash. There's going to be a team fight coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds on the Drake. You already have 2. You want to fight over the 3rd one. You need to fight over it when you see a Fed casting on the other side. So big mistake coming through from Balulu, especially because, of course, Graves was able to pick it up, and that means a Herald on top of it, which will be used to break this mid lane tower.
Yeah, Umut is down in the bottom lane, does have the TP in a few seconds' time, but won't be able to get here soon enough. Supermassive should step into this bottom side river, use the priority they have in bot, use the priority they have in mid to get some wards down, but they had no procs on Snowflower's Relic Shield. They didn't have any control wards in their inventory, so they weren't able to gain control of the area before Unicorns could reset.
Coming into this fight, it is literally just components for Supermassive, even coming off the reset, because Armut delayed, you know, that Trinity Force with the Tiamat, the Ninja Tabis, as well as a second Doran's item. Like, Boss, he's got his Blade of the Ruined King and almost his Cleaver on top of that. So it's a big difference in terms of what the top laners can provide. Level 11 for Nectin makes him almost unkillable in the river against champions with not, you know, fully completed items, you know, without the Leandre's finished off and potentially in Nashor's either, so this fight may not even be the best option here for Supermassive. Gadget, on the other hand, thinks it is, because he just got a book.
Yep, he is an avid reader. He's been going to the library and asking what your favorite books are each day, and today it is the Medjai's, the Book of Death. Or a death note sometimes for your opponents as you continue to land bouncing bombs. And I think that the issue I have with Supermassive right now is it might not be the best fight, but you kind of have to take it because you want to keep the clock ticking on this Infernal Soul as you catch out Boss. There's one. That's a great pick for them as Nomans was in the top lane and decided not to teleport in. Infernal Dragon started up by Supermassive as the Unicorns actually look to disengage.
They can't do this. It's only going to be a steal opportunity here for Nanasik. 20 seconds
Solar Flare on TP. Zenith Blade going in as well. Kakao trying to do what he can. Here's the TP. No Man's going to join the fray now. Off towards the top side of the fight is Balulu. He's looking for a flank. He's on a control ward. No Man's going to jump forward. The blast cone is there, but No Man's can still chase. He now has a flank of his own as the Unicorns.
Boss is alive in 5.
Look to dive in. Boss alive in 5. As you say, he's going to rejoin this fray. In just a moment's time, the Infernal Dragon
TP behind.
resets once again. Boss has the TP. Kakao doesn't have the Lilton Lullaby back, and now Boss has the flank position on the Renekton. He's diving forward with the slice and dice. Kakao goes down, and Nanasik will get that kill. Armut's killed Santos, but No Man's is just popping the hell off. Balulu can do nothing but run and hide. Emperor's Divide will knock No Man's back, but Balulu, you're running in the wrong direction now. As No Man's continues to rift walk towards you. Unicorns of Love still on the chase. Sightknot almost falls, lands the last embrace, but the bouncing bomb will find its mark. Now Balulu is not long for the rift. A nice little slide.
You're trying to slide away, but Casson is just more mobile than you, man. He's waiting, he's coming in, ready to finish off the final kill here. There is nothing you can do, Balulu. That is the ace again for the Unicorns. They bought enough time for Boss to respawn and teleport into the fight, and then they slay Supermassive in the river.
And 12 stacks in the book. 12 pages to read through as Gadget continues to scale up on this Ziggs. The Rod of Age is almost complete for No Man's as the sleep comes down here onto a Nanasik. Kakao and Snowflower trying to team up there. Mega Inferno Bomb just absolutely nukes Kakao. Death from above there from Gadget. Snowflower unable to save his teammate.
What a fight right there from the Unicorns, because it looked bad. It was a 4v5. It was almost like, just leave No Man's in the top lane. It doesn't matter, but they were able to kite out for so long, get the Drake to reset, and then Boss comes in around on the flank. Boss's impact wasn't even that felt as he jumped over the wall to try and turn this around, but then the backline of Supermassive, like, they just get jumped on. They get instantly broken down. Ziggs had also just hit a really big breakpoint in the Seraph's Embrace, and once again, in these split-up fights where Supermassive are kind of going all sorts of different directions, they are just getting taken out time and time again. This is not the clean team fighting that I saw them using in a lot of those games against Mad Lions yesterday, where they were abusing the Fog of War to find the engages.
Armut's going to try and abuse some vision control in the bottom lane. Seed Cyclones onto No Man's. No Man's will have the Rift, or gets out of the Emperor's Divide with the last Embrace, finds the shutdown. Sightknot able to take that kill. Good little play there from Supermassive to try and get something back on the board. I will give credit as well to Gadget in those team fights. Like, his ability to control zones of the map with this Ziggs is absolutely devastating. It becomes so difficult to get onto that backline if there's a satchel charge in your way.
Exactly, and it's one of the ways to combat with the insane range that Supermassive's composition has with the Azir and the Sennas. You just put down those minefields, spam out those bouncing bombs, rather, and keep them off of your tail here. And with 16 stacks Mejai's, with the Leandries coming through, finished off Seraphs, there's not really that much threat onto him in the backline. It is really just Armut diving in, and he's still, 20 minutes in, does not have a Trinity Force complete. So say what you will about No Man's 13 out of 16, 5 kills already, really approaching that deadline. Gadget is it almost a bigger threat in terms of you're never going to be able to reach him reliably.
Becomes so difficult for Supermassive. Feels like the scaling clock is ticking. Of course, Azir and Senna can do a huge amount in the late game. If you can find a pick, if you can find a good fight, that solar flare can find its mark, you can just demolish someone. But right now, Supermassive 4,000 gold behind, and they lost that last dragon, so they don't even have the soul coming up in 2 minutes' time.
And triple Merc Treads coming through from Unicorns as well. It's a great game for Mercs when you see double AP coming out and a whole lot of hard crowd control too. So those champions going to be even more difficult to lock down. No Man should also be very close to finishing off the upgraded Seraph's Embrace. And again, it's these defensive items that, combined with the insane scaling these champions naturally possess, make them kind of tanks at the same time too. You know, you just can't actually take them down, and that's going to be really, really hard. So this Drake is going to be very defining for Supermassive. It's still going to be before the level 16 point. It's still going to be before any sort of like Rabadon's complete for that Ziggs in the bot side as well, and it would put them on soul point. Supermassive have to take fight here, and they have to be able to win.
It's going to be such a difficult task for them. Balulu's still only sitting on a Nash's tooth. We haven't really seen his itemization that much, but he is miles up behind the clock. When you look at No Man's already got that Seraphs and the Rod of Ages complete. And No Man's, he's already popped off once on the Cassidy in this tournament. It looks like this is going to be another one of those stellar games for him. He is actually one of the key carries for the Unicorns of Love so consistently. He's done 30% of his team's damage across the course of playing so far, and continues to show us why he's a player to be feared in this tournament.
All right, we'll see now. Armut is looking for some sort of a flank here, but there are wards he will walk over and be spotted on. And again, not a lot of good targets to actually find in the backline outside of that Ziggs. It may be better just try and enter the fight from the front, play that slow team fight, playing for your backline. And they're going to sprint over here towards the Baron, try to pull Unicorns over their way, but you don't want to stand in that pit for too long, otherwise this Ziggs is going to tear you apart.
And the issue is now, if you're not doing it, you are giving up in the second Inferno, right? Like, it's not a soul. The Unicorns of Love have only got one dragon so far this game, but Supermassive are now going to try and pull the Unicorns into a fight. As soon as that Scryer's Bloom comes out, you have to expect a disengage. Last Embrace misses. Snowflower just acting as that front line, standing there with the stun ready. Infernal Dragon goes down. There's the Solar Flare. No Man's not caught in it. Rift walks away. Looting Lullaby available for Kakao. It was only ticked on No Man's. You can see Supermassive unable to find anything out of that fight.
The engages have consistently not been able to find their mark here, coming from Supermassive. And as we get later into the game and they realize the inevitability of the scaling of some of these Unicorns champs, like I said, the fights need to change their context, how you're playing backwards instead of forwards like you were before. But now with just sort of giving objectives over to free for Unicorns of Love, Unicorns can spread out into that 1-3-1 where Renekton's going to have a nice time in the bot side with 2 finished items. Of course, No Man's is already so insanely strong, and you're always going to have pressure coming through from mid lane. So Supermassive, when their ultimates are back onto cooldown, there's no threat of engage coming the way of Unicorns, and they are completely free to play the entire map, soak up golden experience for all their carries.
I like this Supermassive, though. They do it again. They try and catch Boss. Double TP in behind them, and a counter TP coming out from Supermassive.
Whoa.
Boss got to fall first. Armor almost down. Here's No Man's. Level 15. Tick, tick. The clock is ticking. Kakao jumps over the wall, but No Man still has a flash and a Rift Walk and a Mega Inferno Bomb to back him up. The Kassadin dives in. Kakao the target. No sleep available even through the exhaust. No Man's is unkillable. The Emperor's Divide comes out, and No Man's will eventually fall, but not before he helps his team get another. And now Snowflower going back in with the Zenith Blade. Zeitnot forced away. Santa splashes the wall. And Zeitnot should die to the cow as Ananasik dives forward for the kill. Snowflower, the last man standing. Gadget jumping around. The Hexplosive Mindfield's going to work out as well. Santos dodges out of tower aggro. dives back in for the kill. Unicorns with their third ace of the game.
The Unicorns of Love are the team that refuse to quit. They will never call it quits after 1-2 kills. No, they want every single player off the map, and they want them dead. And Unicorns right there. No Man's, the amount of damage he put out, even when he was going to die, was absolutely insane on the chase coming through. And it was all off of a play that Supermassive themselves started, jumping there onto Boss, but the double TP, like you said, comes on through. No Man's finds the first. The Blast Cone to knock Cacao back, forces his flash to come through, and you can try to run away. Lily is fast, but she's not fast enough to get away from 20 billion blinks coming her way. Even through the exhaust, he's still dealing the damage. It's crazy, man.
That was level 50.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It gets worse.
It gets worse. It gets worse, and it feels like Supermassive have been preparing for an exam for the last 25 minutes, and now deadline day is here, and they haven't done their homework, because that Kassadin, one level away from 16. Coming up for a fight once again. Losing Lullaby coming out. There's the TP. Immediately, Armored is down below half HP. Just walks through a couple of bombs on the floor, and Boss is going to teleport in. Supermassive, we're looking to try and find a pick, but Ananasik is chasing down Armored. Tries to get away on the top side. The Solar Flare used on No Man's. He's only looking for the Monkey. Armored pops the Cyclone to try and get away. Boss and Santos can come in from the side, but the clone will work out for Armored. Santos Hex flashing across the wall, dives on Snowflower. Dawning Shadow going to give a shield across the entire team as Supermassive back away. Unicorns of Love will allow them to disengage now.
No Man's is playing that one pretty cautious. He could have, riftwalked forward a couple of times, but he did not want to get CC chained and taken down. So they will just force all of Supermassive to go ahead and take a reset. And they're not even going to overcommit and move into the Baron too quickly. This team knows they have a lead. They know that Kassadin is insanely powerful. 15 out of 16, and Gadget gets caught.
Beautiful little shuffle in there from Balulu.
Oh, no.
But that was a 25 stack Medjay, and that's exactly the damage it can do.
What? That damage, like, we saw it from No Man's in the bot lane, we just saw it from Gadget there. Even when they're dying, they're always taking someone down with them, and now Armut, he's next on the list.
Just oversteps, and No Man's dings over to 6, and ding, ding, ding goes the bell as the round is over, and you have to feel that Unicorns will go to the Baron and close this one out. Supermassive, it's a miracle they need. It is something from the heavens themselves they need to get back into this game, because right now they are getting outscaled, they are getting outfought, and they are about to get out with another loss.
The jungle's just lit up like a Christmas tree. They're walking through it, they're seeing every single step of the way. No Man has his level 16, and he might be able to 1v3.
I mean, Snowflower is the first target for him.
Look at him.
No Man's giving the thumbs up across, dives forward once again, dodges everything. The Baron goes down. There's 30 seconds on the Inferno. Not sold for either team, but I'm sure Unicorns will want to add it to the litany they have in their inventories alongside the extra gold that they are ahead.
This is just such a frustrating game for Supermassive. Balulu does do a good job of picking off Gadget right over the wall, but, I mean, that's just a full damage ultimate. Yep. 85% of his health bar there. I think there might have been an auto attack or a Q to help knock him down, but just ridiculous stuff coming through.
And as you say, it's just such a difficult game for Supermassive, right? Like, there was that one fight, like in the first game, there was that one fight where the Twitch got ahead.
Because it started off so well for them.
Cacao was so far ahead.
Had a 2-3 level advantage. It was insane, but they keep getting out team fought in the river around the dragon by Unicorns of Love. We know Unicorns are a scrappy team. They love to team fight. That was one of their big strengths in their region, and now Supermassive don't seem to have the answer against the Unicorn machine.
And you wonder perhaps if there is a degree of exhaustion in them. Like they played a full 5-game series yesterday. They fought back after losing fights like that. They were able to take Mad Lions and really just force them into so many difficult situations. And now Unicorns are doing that to Supermassive, and it feels like Supermassive just can't quite find that fight back that they had yesterday.
And start chugging the Red Bull if you need some energy here, because Supermassive about to go down 2-0. Match point for Unicorns. Unicorns with 3 Infernals and the base about to break. It's their time.
Last year against Splice, they went 2-3. They almost took down the European 3rd seed. This year against Supermassive, they are looking to go 2-0 up, 1 game away from groups. The last time we saw a Commonwealth of Independent States team in Worlds Group was 2016, and we all remember the names of Albus, Nox.
Yes, sir.
We all remember what they did. The Unicorns trying to show they are the best team in the region. They are the best team the region perhaps has made in a very long time.
That middle lane inhibitor exposed. Boss up here solo in the top lane, able to knock this one down, and No Man's virtually uncontested. Balulu's doing his best trying to clear away the minions. In the mid side, Anasik took so much damage, but the ultimate comes through and is dodged away by Zeitnot. Again, that bomb will instantly kill the backliners of Supermassive.
Yeah, Void Staff completed alongside 15 stacks in that Medjay's makes it so difficult to do anything against it. Inhibitor down in the mid lane. Unicorn's going to bring in the bot wave, but that's actually not the largest wave in the world. It's only got that single cannon in it. Hasn't been stacked up.
And it's a Zig Siege. These towers will instantly get blown up. There is no defense for Supermassive, and their engage options, all they really have is the Leona at this point. Balulu could commit with his flash, but he's not going to be able to do that.
Zig's passive takes half of the inhibitor's health. The Snowflower looks for a last chance saloon engage, but they can't find the solar flare. Gadget able to flash away. Meanwhile, in the top lane, you can see Boss pushing in, takes the turret.
There's just absolutely nothing that Supermassive can do. They're going to lose their third inhibitor uncontested inside of the base. Just watching it fall down. There's no solar flare to start off a fight. Unicorns of Love are going to take everything.
They're trying, but Supermassive can't find the fight. Their only engage is the solar flare with a flank perhaps from Armut, but no teleport available, no teleport wards available for him as Zeitnot almost falls down. Triple inhib gone. 2 minutes on Infernal Soul, 2 minutes on the Baron. A 9,000 gold lead for the Unicorns of Love.
I think Gadget is attaching some notes to the bombs he's sending in there, because those are getting personal onto Zeitnot every single time, trying to find that Sentinel. She has a Hex Drinker to try and stay alive, but you can see how out of control this game had gotten. Because even with the early advantage that was all on Kakao, the game was still close. When they took that fight in the river, No Man's got that triple kill. It just broke completely wide open. No Man's absurdly fed on this Kassadin, almost at his Rabadon's death cap, but I mean, he doesn't need it to do the one-shots. He's already there. He's already dodging all around the map. The Rift Walks everywhere. This man cannot be stopped.
It's so hard for Supermassive to itemize against him as well. Like, what do? You get magic resist, you get a Banshee's Veil on your Azir against a Kassadin. It's not really going to matter too much. You can see Kakao said, well, I'll get myself an Abyssal Mask. I'll try and make myself a little bit more tanky. And here comes the last-ditch play from Supermassive. Armor trying to get onto that backline. It's Gadget who's the target, but Gadget still surviving. Mega Inferno Bomb's going to do some work. Kakao's almost fallen. Gadget gets one. No Man's jumping around as much as he can and flashes away. Armor able to survive for quite a long time in this fight, but No Man's has already taken him down, and now Zeitnot is the new target. Balulu goes down. Snowflower alive with Zeitnot. The bot lane trying to survive, but it's just not enough. It's just too much from Unicorns of Love. A triple for No Man's, the fourth ace of the game, and the Unicorns will go 2-0 up and be one game away from groups.
You can throw curveballs the way of Unicorns, but they will find a way to bounce back. It's the team fights for them, and it's, again, with a bit of their own flair. The blind pick cast in the mid lane. Who has the courage to do that? It's No Man's. You've seen his insane moves time and time again, and Gadget, these AP bot laners, the Ziggs, also looking completely ridiculous. That's going to bring the Unicorns to match point here up against Supermassive.
And you wonder what Supermassive have to do, what they need to change, because it hasn't all been about draft. Like, it's never been won in draft, but the inventiveness of Unicorns in the draft is definitely